So Vijay, welcome to Kazakhstan. Thank you for accepting our invitation for their interview.
Thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege to be here, and I'm excited to chat with you.
Oh, it's nice. So how is Kazakhstan? Do you like it? What is your impression?
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. Look, I've been here less than 24 hours, but it's already made a very strong impression on me. The warmth of the people, very welcoming. I think I've had more food forced down my throat in the last 24 hours than I've eaten in the past week in California. So I'm enjoying getting to kind of know your cuisine, know your people, and everything else. And I'm looking forward to the rest of my time here. And I personally was very excited to come to Kazakhstan because a hub of civilization for so many years, right?
Yeah.
It's a place where wheel was invented, the chariot was invented, fire was invented, and all sorts of different things, sewing, leather crafts, handicrafts. So it's just, for me, it's a privilege to be here, and I was very, very excited to come.
Glad to hear that.
Great to meet you.
So you often do TED Talks, as I know, and now you come to Astana to participate in Go Viral Festival. So what are you going to do there?
Yes, so I'll be speaking later this afternoon, actually, giving the keynote at the Go Viral Festival. And obviously, I'm going to be speaking on a variety of topics, but first and foremost, I think the city's important to me because, as I mentioned, I come from Silicon Valley, and I think I'm going to speak quite a bit around Silicon Valley and what makes it, great in many ways, which is technology, innovation, diversity, ideas, and pushing the pace of innovation. But in many ways, I see Central Asia as the precursor to Silicon Valley, right, in terms of pushing human evolution, civilization, and technology, and it all kind of started here. And I think one of the messages I'll convey is Silicon Valley is a special place, but it can be replicated in other places. And it can be replicated here in Kazakhstan, and it can be replicated in all sorts of different places. I specifically will be speaking about creating my organization, Butter Payments, which just raised a $22 million Series A in January. We're valued at over $100 million today. And we're a global payments business that's aimed towards remediating payments. So that users, for instance, here in Kazakhstan who want to sign up for an American product like Netflix can put their credit card down and make sure that payment goes through. But I'll be tying that journey back to my travel stories, which 10 years ago I took the Trans-Siberian Railway and actually started all the way in Russia, Western terminus in St. Petersburg, and then I ended up all the way in Mongolia. And so my past 10 years have gone from being kind of a student backpacker, not really knowing the way, and then here 10 years later, building this large organization. So I'll be talking about that journey, and the focus will be on how everyone else at the conference can create their own journey and hopefully tell a better story than me one day.
Oh, it's amazing. So actually, I want to ask how the idea come about creating this butter payment, how it comes to your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a long journey, like I said, over the course of a decade. What I'll say is I didn't grow up thinking I'm going to be a founder. I didn't grow up thinking I'll start a business. I didn't grow up thinking I want to start a software business, let alone a fintech, let alone a payments business. So for me,
you'll be an engineer.
None of these things, right? So 10 years ago, if you asked me this, I didn't have a plan to get here. But there are two things that I liked growing up, which are statistics. And I like statistics because I love basketball and I wanted to get deeper into the sport. And then I liked video games. And I married those two things in my first occupation. So when I broke into Silicon Valley, I started at Microsoft and I started working on the Xbox team. And I started to notice this massive problem when I was working as a statistician within the Microsoft team. And so you had 100 million users of Microsoft products, and I was put in charge of retention, so keeping these users on the subscription platforms. And I started to realize actually a quarter of the people that were churning from Xbox Live were not asking to cancel their subscription, right? So they weren't calling Microsoft and saying, I want to cancel my Xbox subscription. What was happening is Microsoft couldn't collect their payments. And to give you kind of a simple example of that, if someone in Kazakhstan today goes to sign up for Xbox Live and they put their card down, maybe it's a Visa card and it's issued by the national bank here in Kazakhstan, someone at Microsoft in the United States will go run that payment and they'll try and charge $9 and they'll try and charge it a month from today. But when they run the payment, it might be 1 p.m. in California, that's 2 in the morning here. And so the Kazakh National Bank might say, why is your card being run at 2 in the morning in another country? And it looks like fraud. And then the payment gets canceled, and the user gets kicked from the service.
Yeah, I see.
And then you can't get access to the product. So for me, finding and starting this business was a function of me seeing this problem at Microsoft, and then I saw the same problem at Dropbox, and then I saw the same problem at Scribd. And when I saw it across all these major organizations over the course of 7 or 8 years, I said, every subscription company in the world has this problem, and I want to fix it. And I want to fix it so the people in Kazakhstan and elsewhere can go play these games, sign up for these services and not be blocked because we in America are not thinking about that problem. So it really was a process of discovery, finding this problem and then trying to fix it for the entire global user base of subscription users.
So I guess you can come, you can enter our market, IT market, because I also have such kind of problem with subscriptions.
Well, that's why it's nice to kind of be face-to-face with you, because when you talk about this problem in America, people maybe look at you a little crazy, because they put their cards down, and they're like, I've never had a problem with this. And so when you bring this to the subscription companies in America, the executives say, this can't be a problem.
Yeah.
But now I'm here with you, and you're like, I've had that experience. I get it. I know what you're talking about. And so we're trying to bring that awareness here.
So I guess before coming to Kazakhstan, you searched for the information about the IT sector of Kazakhstan, right?
Yeah.
So how you can evaluate it?
Yeah, absolutely. Even in the limited time I've been here, I think one of the reasons why I'm interested in this region in Central Asia, and one of the reasons why the U.S. in general is starting to get interested in the region is because of the promotion of IT here. And we're seeing a lot of young people who are getting interested in IT, who are getting interested in STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. I was able to speak with some youth about that and speak at co-working spaces. So as I go around the country, I see people who are generally interested in technology. And they're in maker spaces, they're taking coding boot camps, and I'm excited for the growth of that in this region. I think that's going to bear lots of fruit. And it's an opportunity now, post-COVID, where people can work anywhere, right? And they can build technology anywhere. So I'm excited about the development of the Kazakh IT industry, and I think there's great opportunities here among the young people.
Yeah, and now Kazakhstan is striving to digitalize its economy and everything.
Yeah.
So I guess now our IT sector will gonna develop more.
Well, you're taking some steps that even America hasn't. I told them I actually forgot my wallet before coming here, but I have Apple Pay on my phone, and everywhere I've gone has accepted contactless payments. And so you guys are moving in that direction.
Yeah, thank you. So what is going to be your recommendation to the banks and others who might have such kind of problems with payments?
Absolutely. And I was able to speak with some of your banking leaders here. I think my recommendations are twofold. If you're a consumer, don't worry. This problem afflicts you today, right? But unfortunately, there's not things that you can do personally to prevent this. But our organization is working to solve this for you. So when I come on here in 5 years, you won't have to ask me this question again, because our organization will go solve this for you. My recommendation is a little bit less for the banks, but more for the companies that sell services online. Look at this problem of payment failures and don't view it as just a cost of doing business. Because that's what I see with a lot of companies, is they see the payment failure and they think there's nothing they can do. And so look at your own data and try to understand, why did the payment fail? Is it because this is actually a stolen card or fraud? Or is it because I haven't run that payment at the right time? Or I haven't run that payment with the right analytics behind it? And so that would be my encouragement, is for the companies that do business here, look at those failed payments and treat it as an opportunity, and understand behind every failed payment, there's a user like you or me who's trying to sign up for your service. And so that would be the recommendation as we work with banks. Obviously go back and look at your risk rules and make sure that you're doing the best you can to make sure that legitimate payments are going through. At the end of the day, though, our business is trying to solve this for the banks, it's trying to solve it for the issuers, it's trying to solve it for the customers and everyone else. So I'm hopeful that we build that world, and we're obviously on our way to build that world where this isn't a problem in a decade, right? That's my hope.
Yeah, amazing. And then as the last question I want to ask is, as long as artificial intelligence becomes so popular, what is your choose, human resources or artificial intelligence?
Wow, if I have to choose between the two, I'll always pick human resources. And I'll say that actually even coming as a person who's built a machine learning and artificial intelligence business, right? Butter is an artificial intelligence business because when we see a payment fail, we ingest all the data, the card scheme, the funding source, the issuer, and then we make a recommendation. So artificial intelligence has helped me build my career and my company, but it is not the be-all end-all, right? So artificial intelligence always has to be guided. That's my belief. So if I try and create an artificial intelligence model, but I give it no structure, and I don't tell it what to do, it's not going to solve the problem. So the reason we exist is not, and we succeed, is not just because we've created artificial intelligence, but because there's really smart human beings behind it who are training the models and optimizing for a certain result. In our case, optimizing for authorizing payments, but in other cases, optimizing for healthcare or legal issues or other things. So for me, there will always be a need for the human element behind it, but I encourage people to understand the math behind artificial intelligence, the statistics and everything else. So that's my answer there.
But in the future, as you think, artificial intelligence will be more in need, like people
Absolutely.
lose their jobs, right?
Yes, so I think there are some jobs that might be replaced, but I think there will always be jobs for people that have a smart skill set and understand how to frame problems. And I think the way I think about that is, if your job is entirely manual, that job might be replaceable, right? If your job is just like, I have to go scrape the internet for something, and I just have to spend time, that job might get replaced. You might want to think about different careers. But if your job is more like, I'm designing experimental frameworks, research frameworks, and things like this, those jobs aren't going to get replaced, right? Because we need smart people to apply AI. And so I wouldn't worry about that as a massive issue, but I would encourage people to take an interest in science, technology, and mathematics so you can understand a little bit more on the AI that powers these tools.
Okay, thank you. Let's be optimistic.
Absolutely. I'm very optimistic about the future because I think there's lots of interesting applications, and we also need lots of really smart and ethical people behind those applications.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, very nice to meet you as well, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.